And so my response to you is as follows. You found many, many different types of jawbones, many types of structures, all kinds of, the missing links supposedly, and so on and so forth. There is no proof, real proof, that one thing came from another and gave rise to the other thing. Yeah, you found elephants with half trunks, three-quarter trunks, and so on. Maybe they existed and died, and the elephants survived. No, the elephants emerged. How do you know that the elephants emerged? Then maybe it was created. You have no proof for those kinds of things. You have no proof that we are the products of Lucy, whoever Lucy is, because the DNA may be similar, but the DNA may be similar to some octopus that you'll find in the strata. Or maybe Lucy had sex with an octopus. What I'm trying to tell you is as follows, that from the fossil record, you get certain classifications, you can get certain information, but you cannot get the proof of how life evolved. The fact that you can find millions of mutations and not one new species should tell you loads about the genetic code that makes up each individual species, how hard it is to alter a species and to make one species into another. The fact that there is this theory it's a very interesting theory, but it does have a lot of difficulties with it. One of the difficulties is that you cannot have blind existences all of a sudden creating an eye. The design for the eye is not something that you can learn, nor is it something that can evolve on its own. And furthermore, there is, without a wisdom, creating an eye, making for an eye, there can be no chemical development for the structure and for the various components that go into an eye. Now, I know you're going to go ahead and say, well, this does this, and that does this, and this does this. It's a lot of baloney. Because at the end of the day, a blind existence cannot imagine what eyesight is. And the very fact that sunlight has an effect upon things and can fry them, that would require the development of nerves. And I don't know how you develop nerves out of protoplasm. And that development had to have been imputed and placed within it rather than something that happens by itself. The development of the eye and the development of the stomach and the development of the teeth and the development of the brain are not some things that happen by themselves. I'll give you one more thing to chew about, my friend Elaine. If I were an ape and there were hominids that had learned how to make spears, and they were killing my babies, guess what I would do? Not just run away. If I was almost as bright as the hominids, I'd try to make my own spears. And I don't think the apes ever learned how to make spears. Nor did they ever learn how to make guns. Nor did they learn how to have a language and a lore. And to say, as the video that you sent to me seems to indicate, that we are an ape is an insult to the human being, because the human being is not an ape. Were he to be an ape, the apes would have developed, because it is advantageous for the ape to compete with the human for food, for females, for territory, or for just glory. But the truth is, they never became humans. The reason why they never became humans is because God didn't make them that way. That's the real reason. And I don't care how many fossils you find. There is no proof. Not only is there no proof, it is impossible for there to be the kinds of things that exist in life for them to develop on their own. And I don't care how much time you give. The fact is that the amount of time necessary for those events to take place is quite beyond the 20 billion years that you give, or actually 13 billion years that you give from the time of the Big Bang. Yeah, we're evolving all the time. Yeah, we're learning how to deal with wind. But you know what? People remain people. And apes remain apes. And dogs remain dogs. And there isn't anything that's becoming something else. And that's just the fact. And if it were becoming something else, we should be able to see one example of it becoming that other thing. Don't tell me that there exist in-betweens. The in-betweener has to become the other thing for it to really show evolution. I'm saying to you, walking fish always walked. And skinks without legs always didn't have legs. And unless you can show me a skink that's losing its legs, it doesn't happen. It just does not happen. There are skinks without legs and skinks with legs.